Welcome to Global Wellness Weekend. Good day, my name is Heather MacKay. I am the Senior Manager at Elmwood Spa, located in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And I'm here today to guide you through a complete facial workout and face training exercises, incorporating different techniques that help to promote a more sculpted, radiant, youthful complexion and to help your skin age more gracefully. So now, before I start the massage, I'm going to apply a little bit of a facial serum to the skin first, and then I will apply my moisturizer that I'm going to use as my massage base. So we always want to layer our serum before our moisturizer because our serum has a smaller molecular structure. It's going to penetrate and treat down in the lower layers of the skin. That's why our serums tend to be more of a preventative skincare step. And then we're going to apply our facial moisturizer on the surface, and then that's what I'm going to use as my massage base. It's important to use the right amount of cream because you want there to be enough slip that you're not tugging at the skin, but you don't want it to be too slippery so you're not able to get deep down into the muscles. This massage technique, you're going to want to be using a pressure where we're actually moving the muscles around and we're giving the muscles a workout rather than pulling back and forth on the tissue. So I'm going to use a couple drops of my serum. And I'm going to use some little tapping motions to help penetrate the serum. Now I'm going to move into my massage cream. I'm probably going to start with about the size of a quarter. It's easier to add more moisturizer as you need it. Always keep it on hand because if you start to lose slip, you're going to add more moisturizer. Depending on the hydration level of your skin. If your skin that's more dehydrated, your skin may absorb the cream faster and then you need to add a little bit more. If your skin's more hydrated, it might not require as much. So first we're going to start with a nice application. And you leave a nice layer on there. So I'm going to begin with a couple of techniques that just are going to help to loosen up the muscles. We tend to carry a lot of tension in the tops of our shoulders, up the backs of our necks, and into our occipital muscles. And so by just doing a couple of movements where I'm doing some circular motions using some pressure from my fingertips around the muscles at the top of my shoulders. That's going to help to set the tone and release some of the tension and relax the muscles a bit. Then I'm going to do some grasps. I'm going to do some pinching movements to those top muscles there. If you're someone that works at the computer a lot, you can carry a lot of tension up the back of your neck and into your occipital muscles in the back of your head. That can cause tension that can lead to headaches. So a nice move to do is to just run your fingers up the back of your hair and do some shifting of your scalp. Shift your scalp up and down, back and forth, side to side, and loosen your scalp off of the top of your skull. That will help to loosen up the muscles and loosen up the fascia. The fascia is a fibrous connective tissue that makes your muscles stick so that they don't slide and glide as easily. So doing some loosening up of those muscles is going to help to relieve tension there. So I can tell that my skin has absorbed a lot of that lotion already. So I'm going to take a little bit more now and apply that. And then I'm going to start with some movements across the décolleté. So you're going to take your hand, sweep it across your shoulder, back up the opposite side of your neck. Take your left hand, sweep it down the right side of your shoulder, cross your décolleté, and then back up the left side of your neck. Then we're going to start with some knuckling. So you're going to use your fingers and your knuckles and you're going to knuckle down the sides of your neck towards the base and then slide back up. knuckling down the neck. With the back of your hand, slide back up. And again, knuckling down your neck. The backs of your hands, slide back up. Then we're going to do some knuckling along our jawline. So we're going to take our hands into little fists at the side of the base of our chin, and we're going to knuckle, rolling movements out towards our ears and slide back in. Knuckling movements towards our ears and slide back in. And we're going to raise our hands up a little bit higher on our chin and go across the lower folds of the cheeks. And slide back in. And then we're going to go a little bit higher to the side of our mouth. We really want to use some good pressure there. You don't want to use so much pressure that it hurts, but you want to get down in there and work those muscles. And a little bit higher across the bone just under your eye, out towards the edges of your face, and slide back in. Three to 5 times each movement. And then we're going to do some pinching motions across our lip. We're going to do it with our lips pressed together, and then we can separate each lip, the bottom and then the top. That's going to help to bring some circulation to the lip area. It's going to be a little lip plumping exercise as well too. And now we're going to work on this little muscle here when we squinch our faces up, and this causes those nasal labial folds. So let's do some circular motions to really work out the tension from all the exercise that muscle gets that causes these nasal labial folds. We're going to do circular motions up and down. Then we can do some pinching up the nasal labial folds. And then we're going to do some technique to help firm up the tissue around our jawline and help prevent that drop where we get the jowly look. So we're going to do some rapid slapping motions where you're going to use your middle finger and your ring finger. The faster, the better. And then we're going to do a little bit of work around the eyes. So we're going to start, it's always nice to close your eyes when you do this technique. So we're going to start with some circles around the eyes, and we're going to do some figure eights. And then we can do some little rocking motions underneath the eyes. This is going to help to drain the fluids that accumulate underneath the eye area, causing puffiness or dark circles. We're going to move those motions out towards the temple area where we have our lymph nodes that are going to help to drain those fluids and flush out the toxins out of our bodies. It's important when you're flushing the fluids out from underneath the eyes that you don't lose contact while you're sweeping out underneath, so that you're pushing the fluid along, little rocking motions out towards the temple. Then we're going to work on the sinus area a little bit, where sinus can cause a lot of built up sinuses that are overinflated, can also cause tension headaches as well too. So we're going to start by just applying a pressure right to this spot right here. There's a pressure point right here where you're kind of getting underneath your bone, your cheekbone, and you're lifting it. And lifting it's going to help to relieve some of the pressure off of your sinuses, which act like little balloons that sit underneath there. And it's going to relieve some of the pressure by lifting the bone off of those balloons. And you're just going to hold it. And then we're going to do a similar technique around the eye area. So we're going to relieve some tension across our brow. We're going to start by finding this little spot in our eye socket here where there's a vein that pressing that vein and holding it will release a lot of pressure that we can carry in the backs of our eyes. So hold it, hold it. We're using a good amount of pressure here, and then we're sliding out the brow bone. And then we're going to do some pressing motions around our brow bone with our fingertips and a rocking technique. And then we're going to do some lifting movements on our forehead to help smooth out those forehead lines. And then we're going to do a scissoring technique where you use 2 fingers and you slide 1 finger in between and you go back and forth across the forehead. And then we're going to do some finishing techniques. I call this the open book technique. You're opening the book and then drag your hands down the side of your neck and shake it off. When we're doing this facial massage, we're pulling out a lot of negative energy that we may carry within ourselves and our skin and our bodies. And so we're pulling it out. It's now in our hands and we're shaking it off. And that would be a great 5-minute lifting facial massage technique that you could do in the comfort of your own home. And of course, consistency is key. So just like when you go and you work out at the gym, if you work out at the gym once a week or once a month, you don't necessarily achieve very good progress. If you're doing it on a consistent and more regular basis, I would recommend spending 5 minutes to just take a little bit of time to yourself, give a little bit of self-care, and also reap the benefits of creating a more sculpted, radiant look. It's also going to help to bring a lot of micro circulation to the skin, which brings oxygenation to the skin, which helps to revive the cells and give a healthier overall complexion, glow, and texture to the skin. And lifted muscles, more contoured cheekbones, jawline, and smooth out some of those facial expressions that cause wrinkles. So next, I'm going to walk us through a skincare routine with incorporating the tool Gua Sha. So the Gua Sha comes in different shapes and forms. The one I'm going to be showing you today comes in the teardrop shape, and the one I'm working with today is made of Bian stone. You'll notice that you can see gua shas out there made of different types of stones like jade or rose quartz. I'm working with the Bian stone, which is a stone that dates back to the Cretaceous periods, where a meteorite impacted the earth and left behind Bian stone. And this stone has been used in ancient traditional Chinese medicine. It's said to have healing properties that helps to break down negative energy and balance our qi. The stone naturally comes with a cool texture, but I'm going to work with it warm today. And I did that by dropping it into and leaving it soaking into some warm water. And that heats the stone and will give warmth that will help to dilate your blood vessels and relieve tension in the muscles. So the difference between working with the Gua Sha Stone and the Jade Roller is that the Gua Sha and the Jade Roller both incorporate techniques that will encourage lymphatic drainage, which helps to drain the toxins and flush toxins out of our body, reducing puffiness and improving circulation and oxygenation to the skin. But the Gua Sha also helps to relieve tension in the muscles as well too. The Gua Sha, you're going to work with it it's important, one of the techniques is to work with it close to the skin. So you're not going to work with it on an angle, a 90-degree angle, but more like a 15-degree angle, very close against the skin. So first we're going to start with adding a little bit of a face oil. This is a great opportunity to incorporate a face oil into your skin routine. That's going to give enough slip and glide so that the Gua Sha slides and glides easily against the muscles opposed to tugging on the skin. So I'm just going to apply a few drops of one of my favorite oils, which is a Tulsi Booster made with the essential oils of holy basil. And I'm just going to pat that into my skin, and down my neck and my shoulders prior to working with the stone to help assist a better glide. Because of the lymphatic drainage component of working with this tool, it's always great to first start by stimulating your lymph nodes. So your lymph nodes only stimulate by the contraction of your muscles, and the lymphatic system runs parallel to your circulatory system, but your circulatory system has this pump, your heart, that pumps blood through the vessels. The lymphatic system doesn't have a pump, so it relies solely on the contraction and expansion of your muscles. So by doing a couple little movements to help stimulate those lymph nodes and get those lymph nodes pumping will help to encourage a better drainage. So the main lymph nodes in our upper body facial area that we're going to stimulate will be at the base of our neck, the backs of behind our ears, underneath our chin, and as well as our temple area. So the biggest ones we've got right in this upper portion of our body are right here at the base of our neck. A great way to do that is by rolling your chest, your shoulders forward a little bit, finding the hollows inside here, and then just applying a few pumps of pressure with your fingertips. Do that a few times, and that will help to stimulate those lymph nodes, wake them up and get them working so they can act like little filters, filtering out excess fluids and toxins. And one more time. And then I'm going to move up to the backs of my ears. The lymph nodes tend to get smaller the higher we move up on the face. I'm just going to do some pumping motions in behind my ear. A little bit underneath the chin. And again, the temple area. Okay, now that we've got the lymph nodes, we've awoken them from their slumber, we're going to take our Gua Sha tool and we're going to start by relieving some tension down the sides of our neck. And this teardrop shape is a shape that I really like to work with because I find you can use it at different angles to cup the body different. So we're going to apply this in a downwards motion, 3 to 5 times each movement, just like in our facial movements. And the other side. Remembering we're going to keep the Gua Sha angled close to the skin. And just like I mentioned in our deep massage, we do carry a lot of tension up the back of our muscles. So working this up the back of our neck is a great way to relieve tension as well too. And the Gua Sha helps to work on the fascia, which I mentioned earlier is that fibrous tissue that connects our muscles to other muscles or to the bone. And working on the fascia is basically like cleaning out the cobwebs between our muscles so that they can glide and slide easier. Okay, now we're gonna start from we're gonna split our face into two, and we're gonna work on half of our face first, and then we're gonna work on the second half of our face after. So we're gonna start by using this curved area to hug our jaw, and we're gonna move out towards the edge of the face. Now we've got a lot of muscles and nerves that will connect along to our hairline, to our scalp, and so we can do little shifting movements when we get out there that help to break down and release the tension and clear the fascia there as well too. So slide out and give a little jiggle. Slide out and give a little jiggle. Then I'm going to flip the stone. I'm going to work from the outer sides of my lips out towards the edge. I'm going to move to the smaller end, and I'm going to go around across the lip, out to the edges. And we're working in one direction, outwards. And then I'm going to work on that muscle there that causes those nasolabial folds. And I'm going to rub down, just ironing out the tension in that muscle from all that exercise it gets, from our facial expressions, from when we talk. The facial muscles are muscles that are constantly in movement. They're in movement when we breathe, they're in movement when we talk, so they're muscles that are always in motion. And then we're going to slide out underneath our eye, out towards the temple area. And then we're going to work across our brow bone, again towards the temple area. And we're going to work across our forehead. And then we're going to repeat on the other side. And we're going to go up and down our neck, across our jaw, and again we can do our little jiggles as we get to the base of the ear and the base of the hairline. And there are no real rules as long as you're working from the inside outside and we're pushing things toward the outside so they can drain and move down towards the lymph nodes. You can flip your stone around and use it at which other side that feels comfortable on this specific area. And it could be different, vary from people to people, as the structure of your bone structure of each person's face differs from one to the next. We're going to work on those muscles again here that create those nasolabial folds by just pulling out the tension and breaking down that fascia. And then smoothing out underneath the eye area. This is a great little technique to do if you ever wake up and you've got puffy eyes. And doing both tools back to back can be helpful if you work with the Gua Sha warm first, and then you work with your Jade Roller stone, which we're going to work on next, cool. we can get a real flush of the contrasting temperatures. Will really flush things out. And even by breaking this down in the hairline, will help to improve the circulation and the oxygenation around the hairline, which can be great for encouraging hair growth. Because we're getting more fresh blood and more oxygen to the area. And there you have it. It's that simple. Gua Sha. And now we're going to move on to working with the Jade Roller, which I would say is Gua Sha's cousin. Or sister. So what I prefer to work with this tool cold, and it naturally comes at a cool temperature. Jade is also known to have energy healing properties and helps to break down negative energy and balance the chi. It naturally comes cold, but I like to keep it in the refrigerator to enhance the coolness of it, which feels very relaxing and invigorating when working with that on your skin. So it comes with two ends here. It's got a bigger end and a smaller end. And you're going to change the size of which side you're going to use depending on the area. So around the lips, you'll work with the smaller side. And around the eyes, you'll work with the smaller side, and everywhere else I'll find you'll work with the bigger side. So you can start by doing some draining techniques down your neck. Again, you should work in one direction, because if we're draining the fluids, we don't want to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, because as you're pushing fluids down, you're pushing other fluids back up. So work in one direction. We want to work outwards and downwards, outwards and downwards. So I'm going to go work on one half of my face first. And it's also good if your technique isn't too fast. And it's also good if you have your roller overlap, your strokes overlap one another, so that you don't leave gaps between accidentally. So now I'm going to start under my jaw, and I'm going to work out towards the backs of the ears where we know we have those lymph nodes. They're going to act as those little filters. And again, we want to practice each technique 3 to 5 times. I'm going to flip the side when getting to my chin area. And down my lip and out again, down over the upper lip, out to the side. And I'm going to flip back to my larger side, cover more surface. Flip back to the smaller side. And we can even go right over the eyelid. to help reduce some of that puffiness that we might get on our upper lid. Push that out to the temple area. I'm going to flip it back now. Go across the brow and the forehead. And then once I'm finished doing that side of my face, I'm going to try to flush everything down. I'm going to flush it down, heading it towards the backs of my ears, and then down my neck to the base where we know we've got some lymph nodes down here. And then we will repeat on the other side. And each of these little exercises can be no more than a little 5-minute routine. And you can do them individually on their own, or you can layer them all together as I did. If you are going to layer them, I'd always finish with the Jade Roller. It is the gentlest technique and very effective at the lymphatic drainage. And we'd want to do the lifting massage first, because that really helps to stimulate the circulation and gets the fluids all moving and wakes everything up. Relieves tension in the muscles, allowing for better flow. And the Gua Sha also helps to relieve the tension and gets the lymphatic and break up the fascia and gets the lymphatic drainage going as well too. And the Jade Roller really focusing on that flow of that lymph and draining the lymph even better. And if you try, like I mentioned, if you try to use the Gua Sha and the Jade Roller together, I encourage you to try using a heated or warmed Gua Sha stone followed by a cool jade stone. And you can use whichever end feels comfortable, again, based on the natural structure of your own face. And then those final draining movements. And there you have it, Jade Roller. So thank you very much for joining me today. I hope you all picked up some useful tips of some self-care and face training techniques that you can do at home to help improve your skin, promote relaxation and wellness in the comfort of your own home. Remember, consistency is key. 3 to 5 times a week is excellent. You can even start with a challenge of trying to do it every day for 30 days and then maintaining for 3 to 5 days a week after that. Thank you very much for joining.